people-centric relationship with Bangladesh is reflected in the nature of the cooperation between our two countries. When, let's say, energy flows from India to Bangladesh, that energy does not power the homes and hearths of only one set of people, or people who have one set of political beliefs. When water flows, it doesn't then flow through the taps in the households of only one set of people. When in times of need, commodities or essential commodities are sent for sale in Bangladesh, they do not end up in the kitchens of only one set of people. So the nature of our cooperation itself is such that it is people-centric. It is people-centric by design, and therefore to have this thought that we somehow have focused on only one particular set of people to the detriment of others or ignored others is completely unfounded in my view. It is an incorrect perception. It is also a fact that when two governments engage with each other, or when two countries engage with each other, of course the relationship is on multiple levels. It is on the level of governments, but it is also on the level of a whole set of actors who are outside of government. It's civil society, for instance, people such as yourself, media, between academia, between cultural figures. And that has always prevailed in the relationship between India and Bangladesh. But when it comes to government relations, obviously that is sometimes the most visible part. I think all of you play a role in ensuring that the G2G relationship is reflected the most, and sometimes the others are ignored or not covered that much. But when it comes to the G2G relationship, obviously when there is a government, we will engage with the government. Just as I have said that when the next government comes into power in Bangladesh, we will engage with that government. So governments make policy. In order to move the relationship forward, we need to engage on policy, and that is the reason why you engage with the government in power. But that does not mean that everybody else is ignored. The surest sign of that will be, as I think all of you will see, that as the next government comes into power, or for that matter even when, as I was answering a question earlier, that the interim government that has been in office in Bangladesh this past year plus, we have engaged with it on any and every issue that has been there between the two governments. So I think we should set aside this perception that we have any favorites, or we are going to engage with only one set of people and we will ignore another set of people. And I think that also answers the question about whether we engage with a democratically elected government. Which obviously I stand by the comments that I have made earlier. We await the earliest possible expression of the mandate of the people of Bangladesh through free, fair, inclusive and participatory election, and we will engage with that government that emerges from there. Question that was asked with regard to Sheikh Hasina and the impact of her presence on the bilateral relationship. Look, all I will say is that this is a judicial and legal process. It requires engagement and consultations between the two governments. We are examining this issue, and we look forward to working together with the Bangladesh authorities on these issues. Beyond that, I don't think it would be constructive to say anything further at this point. On the question related to the waters, the Ganga Water Treaty, you are all aware that there is a joint rivers commission between the two sides. In fact, it has met in the recent months, and all the issues on the agenda have been taken up. And in any case, the Ganga Waters Treaty is still valid. It has not yet reached the point at which further discussions are called for as part of the treaty. We will continue to discuss this issue within the framework of the Joint Rivers Commission. The same goes for TISTA. We have had discussions with previous governments in Bangladesh on the TISTA River. We have put proposals on the table. We remain ready to discuss those proposals, including with a future government that is in. On the issue of pushing in cushions and border killings, etc. Look, I hope that, again, this is an issue that needs to be looked at in terms of what actually happens on the ground. It is an emotive issue, and I can recognize and appreciate that, but I think it is important to recognize what happens on the ground. These incidents take place in Indian territory, and therefore by definition they take place after people are able to illegally cross the border. And who are these people? They are smugglers, they are criminals, they are traffickers, human traffickers, cattle traffickers, sometimes arms traffickers. They illegally cross the border. They are therefore on the Indian side of the boundary, and then when they engage in armed attacks on the border guarding forces on our side, the PSF, that is when, in self-defense, the PSF engages them, and that is when some of these border killings take place. So the first place to deal with this is to deal with them upstream, in a sense, to prevent illegal border crossings. If there are no illegal border crossings, there will be no border killings. And it is in that context that I hark back to what I had said in my earlier remarks, which is that we should look at practical, pragmatic solutions that are on the table, that have been discussed. Fencing of the border is one such issue. As you are aware, in large portions the border is already fenced. Despite that, it is violated because bad actors have a way of finding their way across even fences. But there are places still, there is almost, if I am not mistaken, between 700 to 800 kilometers that is still unfenced, and people make use of those areas to come across. I think we should look at cooperatively fencing the border in those areas as well. And insofar as cushions are concerned, these happen bidirectionally. The Indians who may inadvertently have crossed the border onto the other side, who are received by us, by our authorities at the border on being repatriated back to India. And the same happens on the other side. But incidentally, since you mentioned the point about the regular channels being employed by that, yes, of course, you are 100% right. We should use the regular channels for these. But I think it is important also to recognize that for some reason the regular channels are not working as well as they should be. We have, at last count, if I am not mistaken, about 2,400 pending cases of nationality verification. And it's not as if these are rolling cases that they have accumulated over a period of time. These are cases that have been there for a long time. And so I think it is important to make sure that that process moves. It would not then give rise to these kinds of things that are happening now. And I think there was a question on whether we are trying to reinstate. Look, I said again, we are only in favor of early elections in Bangladesh, for an opportunity for the people of Bangladesh to express themselves, to give their mandate to a popularly elected government. We will deal with that government. We are prepared to deal with that government. I don't think there's anything else to say with regard to that. I think there was a question on a report by a fact-finding mission
by UN.
By the UN. I have heard of the report. I have not gone through the details of the report. I think you would be aware that there are a lot of reports and a lot of views that have been expressed by people on the ground. I am not making a decision one way or the other, but we have seen what has happened on the ground in Bangladesh. I think it is important to take cognizance of that. Thank you all very much. It's really been a pleasure to have this opportunity to engage with all of you. I hope you have a very fruitful visit to India and a safe journey home. And I look forward to engaging with other occasion. Maybe in Dhaka next time.
Sure.
Thank you all very much.
Can we have a photo?
Oh.
Photo.